I play Ben Carson, who is an ex-New York police detective. He has been relieved of his duty for about 6 or 7 months for the fatal shooting of another officer while he was undercover. And his life is falling apart. A recovering alcoholic, separated from his wife, estranged from his children. So you're catching this character at the beginning of the film at his lowest of lows. He takes a job as a security man for the Mayflower department store.
Ladies department, you gotta be careful here. Sometimes that glass shakes loose, comes crashing.
Which is a chain very much like Macy's. And their signature store in New York had a terrible fire. And until the investigation of that fire is over, he's in charge of the security in the evening. And from that point forward, things start to happen in the store that he can't explain.
You have to create character that you can believe, that are such, believable that you can care for them. And if you don't care for them, how can you be scared for them? So for the lead character of Mills, I would like to have an actor, someone who can express all the different emotions that Ben Carson, the lead protagonist of the movie, was, living and getting through during the whole story. It was not easy because that guy starts with, he lost everything, and he's just trying to put his life back together. And he's going to start a new job by night. And he's going to start to see things in the mirrors in that place that's going to start to talk to him. And is he crazy? Is he just losing his mind? Or is he seeing something that he's not supposed to see?
Mirrors inherently is a challenge to oneself to look inside. Depending on what you see, they could be very frightening. If you ever came over to my house, I have no mirrors in my house because I don't like mirrors. But the idea that a whole nother world can be living on a different plane, almost in reverse, and stuck and watching the other world is a very scary idea. Anybody here?
Connect right away. And he connects right away with the material because once is he really loved the genre and he loved horror movie and he saw The Hills Have Eyes and High Tension and he was really, I guess what he told me, impressed by those movies, but also he connect with the story. And what I realized later is Kiefer has a huge trouble with mirrors before making the movie. I mean, he was really he's someone who has a very strange relationship with mirrors and with his own image. He has very hard time to look at himself. And I know shooting some of the scene of mirrors were very hard for him because he had to spend hours in front of a mirrors, and that was almost like a torture for him because he's a very deep and tortured people himself.
In the film, certain mirrors are destroyed. I really didn't want to be anywhere near the set when some of these mirrors were being broken. And I certainly didn't want to stand next to the guy who had to blow some of them up.
And I thought it was interesting to use something which is so much in our life and turn it against us, to see what happens if tomorrow mirrors stop reflecting what they're supposed to reflect? What happens if tomorrow mirrors start to show us something that we're not supposed to see? And starting from that point, I started some research about the history of human being and the mirrors, and I realized that for many culture and many, centuries, the mirrors were more than just glass and silver. They were, something to use in witchcraft. They were something to use in religion. They were something, and most of the time, something like a window or gate to the other side.
The first mirrors were but ponds and pools. Even then, subjects believed their souls to be held captive on the other side. But who was the first victim of this ancient superstition? As the poet Ovid tells the story, Narcissus was a young, vain man.
One day, upon finding his image in a pond, he fell in love with his own reflection. Now, what's ironic about this story is that he actually died of thirst in front of that pool.
Looking into many mythology, like all the witchcraft of the Middle Age, women were burned alive because they were owning like a meal.
According to Russian folklore, mirrors are the invention of the devil because it can actually draw one's soul from one's body.
To prevent souls of the dead from being trapped within mirrors before making it to the afterlife, many cultures refuse to lay their dead in rooms with reflective surfaces. These superstitions have only multiplied throughout the ages.
The magicians have always used mirrors. Mirrors have been around forever. They've been used in different ways to deceive. Lewis Carroll once wrote that when Alice stepped into the looking glass, she passed into another world. He called it a wonderland. Many cultures to this day still believe that mirrors in sick rooms should be covered, lest they draw out the soul of the weakened body.
The ancient Chinese believed that mirrors could ward off evil spirits. And in Persian weddings, it was customary to place a mirror of fate behind the couple so that the first thing the groom saw upon removing his bride's veil was the reflection of his wife-to-be. The mirror starts out in our life as a friend. And I think as we get older through time, it reveals that this life that we value so greatly